When I started in this field of work about 15 years ago, making a speech like this and saying words like Carsten is talking about, he would have been called a new age weirdo. And it's so wonderful that these conversations now are really becoming mainstream in business. So I now want to hand over to our next keynote speaker, Vishen Lakhiani. Vishen is an AIESEC alumni, and he's going to present himself in his slides. So over to you, Vishen.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So, firstly, in 1995, I got involved with AIESEC when I stumbled upon this brochure at the University of Michigan in the US. Any AIESEC Americans here? So, 1996, I attended my first conference. I was innocent before 1996. In 1997, I became a trainee in Bulgaria. Trainee in LC Varna. 1998, I attended IC in Finland, Sweden. Finnish people, where are you? You gave me my first public nudity experience in a sauna. Now, 1999 to 2000, I joined the USMC. I joined the USMC basically because no other company was hiring me at that time, because I almost flunked out of college. But it was an amazing experience, and I felt like I'd gone through an MBA in like the 12 months I was there. 2000, Ural, Slovenia. I met my wife. Anyone here from Slovenia? Thank you. So my wife, Christina, raise your hand. So she was on the MC in Norway and in Estonia. Norwegians, Estonia. So we met, so that also kind of gives you an idea of how old we are. Then she somehow got me to chair a conference in Norway. We ended up falling in love, and now it's been 12 years, and we got married in Malaysia in 2003. So you heard that statistic, 1 in 7 AIESECers married under AIESEC. That is kind of true. We have now reproduced. The reproduction part, or is that like 100 years? Okay, so when I was in college at the University of Michigan, I set a goal for myself. Someday I wanted to, give back to AIESEC and hire about 100 AIESEC trainees. In 2003, while I was on my second traineeship in San Francisco, so I'm a Malaysian, I was doing a traineeship in San Francisco. At nights, I started a company called Mindvalley. And that was in 2003, so we're now about 9 years old. And we employ 100 people from 31 countries, but get this, right now we have 30 trainees working for us. And since we started, we've hired 61 trainees, so we're about 61% of that goal. So that's pretty cool, I hope. And I'm hoping to hit 100 trainees hired in the next 3 to 4 years. Now, one of the interesting things about Mindvalley is, if you look at, okay, so first let me tell you what we do. We're a media company. We believe in taking education that you do not get in college and bringing it to the world. Things such as advanced goal setting, relationships, meditation, the stuff that's too cutting edge to make it into mainstream education. We build the websites, the media channels, the iPhone apps. Even we have our own festival to get these ideas out to the masses. And that is my executive team. Now, the interesting thing about my senior executive team is those are the number of people who gave advice. And these people all helped me start the company. They all have equity in the company. Some of them at this point are at least on paper millionaires. And they've been with us, and they started with us as an AIESEC trainee 2 or 3 years ago. So I want to share with you a couple of ideas, right, that you can take back. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is that almost everything you've learned up to now in your education is pretty much going to be useless in the next couple of years. First thing I want to share is that the world is changing at an unprecedented rate. And while your education may not have given you the right tools, and you'll see in a moment why, there are a couple of things I want to make you aware of that might give you an edge over a lot of other people in the world. So that man there is Ray Kurzweil. He's considered the 8th most influential American entrepreneur and the Edison of the modern time. Many of the devices that you use was invented by Ray. He's literally one of the smartest men on the planet. Now, Ray is known for his theory of the singularity. Basically, what he said is that by the year 2050, there will be a computer that will have the collective intelligence of the entire 9 billion people on the planet at that point. That is the rate of progress of technology. It's growing at an accelerated rate. So much so that a Maasai warrior in Kenya today has access to more information. Yay, Kenya. Hello. I didn't say sure, but I love your enthusiasm. A Maasai warrior in Kenya today has access to more of the world's information than Ronald Reagan, the President of the United States, had 20 years ago. That is the accelerated rate of technological progress. Look at this. Okay, right now, in about 10 years, they will be able to produce a computer with the intelligence of one human being. 30 years from now, there will be a computer with the collective intelligence of the entire human race. We will basically be merging with computers, according to Ray. But think the information revolution was big? What's happening next is going to be the manufacturing revolution. What you're seeing on the screen right now is a 3D printer. 3D printers can print devices. They can print human organs. You can now print a Stradivarius violin on a 3D printer. But here's the scary part. 70% of the parts of a 3D printer can be printed by a 3D printer. And in 10 years, 3D printers will be able to print themselves. What this means is that if those of you are kicking yourself because you were not graduating in 1998 when the internet was booming, don't worry, because the manufacturing revolution is emerging. And this is a huge, huge, huge thing that's going to change the way we live and the way we work. We literally be able to email each other a Stradivarius violin or print organs. Now, the education system is not keeping up. And one of the things I want to ask you is university education really necessary? I no longer think so. I think in most cases, the best thing you're going to get out of education is AIESEC. In my case, the best thing and I mean that. I mean, my son is 5 years old. When he gets to university, I'm going to tell him, listen, I don't care if you get a good GPA. I don't care if you study hard. Just, get involved with AIESEC, try to start a company, date girls from at least 10 different countries. I'm proud of you. So my friend, Michael Ellsberg, wrote a book called The Education of Millionaires. And Michael Ellsberg basically interviewed 100 millionaires and billionaires. And the interesting thing was, he found that many of the most successful people in the world today chose to completely skip education, skip college. And I'm not just talking about Mark Zuckerberg who started Facebook. I've noticed this in my life. About half the entrepreneurs I hang out with completely bypassed college. So how did they become successful? What did they do that was different? That's what I'd like to share with you. Now, one of the number one things is find your tribe. The world is changing, and there's this new era of entrepreneurship that's forming, where people are getting together in groups that help each other out. And these groups are emerging all over the world. One of the entrepreneurs that Michael Ellsberg interviewed in his book, The Education of Millionaires, by the way, brilliant book, buy it, was this guy over here. His name is Elliot Bisnow. Elliot Bisnow, when he was 21 years old, in college in Wisconsin, he decided that he was sick and tired of school. Wisconsin people here, I take it? No? Okay, great. So that was the house, that was a fake shirt. So Elliot Bisnow took $40,000 of credit card debt on his credit card. He invited the top 20 most influential entrepreneurs he could think of, including like Dustin Moskovitz, one of the guys who co-founded Facebook. And he said, I want to give you an all-expense-paid ski trip to Aspen. So he got these 20 entrepreneurs together, paid for their holiday in Aspen, and they came for each other. He was a 22-year-old kid. They didn't care about him. But guess what happened? That event sparked a revolution called Summit Series. The next trip he organized, 200 people came, and this time they paid. The third trip, 700 people came. They paid. I spoke at that event in DC. By the fourth trip, he was having people like Richard Branson coming to his events. People like Bill Clinton. His fourth trip, he hired an entire cruise. Elliot Bisnow is now the most connected 25-year-old in the planet. He has Bill Clinton, Richard Branson, Russell Simmons, all on his email address. And he started this venture 4 years ago. That is the power of connection. Now, Burning Man. Have you guys heard of Burning Man? Woo! See, unless you grew up in America, you may not have heard of it. What you see over there is a city of 50,000 people that's built in a playa in Nevada. A playa is a dried up riverbed. Almost everyone from Silicon Valley goes to Burning Man for 1 week every year to build their own society that lasts 7 days. Basically, they go there, they build constructions, beautiful art constructions. Some as impressive as that. They create their own vehicles. Money is completely banned. Even bartering is banned. Everybody goes there to create stuff and to just give away goods and services. They build beautiful artscapes like that. They chose to change the rules of the way the world works. They take lots of drugs. Many of them don't wear any clothing. But the important thing that happens is, for 7 days every year, Silicon Valley, the smartest people in Silicon Valley, build their own utopian society for 7 days, and then they dismantle it, and they go home. And why do they do it? Honestly, I don't know. Maybe it's the drugs, maybe it's the nudity, maybe it's because of connection. But it's this really remarkable thing that's going on right now that you guys want to be aware of. And it's called collective entrepreneurial communities. They're opening up all over the world. Another one is something I started. So at Mindvalley, we started our own festival called Awesomeness Fest. Last year, we dedicated part of our proceeds to AIESEC, and we were able to fly a couple of AIESECers there, and in fact, write a $10,000 check for AIESEC. And at Awesomeness Fest, basically, we bring in 200 entrepreneurs. They party together, they listen to amazing speakers, and they surf, they go on adventures. Again, a collective community coming together. You want to recognize that we are living in the age of accessibility. This is not your father's generation. Entrepreneurs today are driven by a need to connect, driven by a need to mentor, and it is so easy to get access to some of the smartest brains on the planet. I've had many opportunities to hang out with Richard Branson on this island, and he's open to this. He loves talking to young entrepreneurs, and it's not just Branson. You will be amazed at the people you can get access to if you simply know the right tribes to plug into. By the way, I hate Microsoft PowerPoint. I created this beautiful presentation in Apple Keynote. I had Branson record a video for you guys, but the video wouldn't convert to PowerPoint. I hope Microsoft is not a sponsor of this event, because screw them. God damn it, I lost that video. But anyway, the important thing is you have access to some of the smartest people in the world. You just gotta have the guts to get out there and reach out. Now another trend is self-education. Have you guys heard of Instagram? The guy who started Instagram and sold it for $1 billion, Kevin Systrom, he's now worth $400 million. He taught himself how to program. He did not learn programming in university. He basically took night classes, got online on the web, taught himself how to program, and in 2 years built a company that was worth $1 billion. Self-education is so easy right now. Udemy, you can go to a website called Udemy and take free courses by some of the most senior people from Google, from Facebook, courses on building companies, on marketing, on project management. At Mindvalley, we decided to merge the idea of a company and a school. We built a learning space called the Hall of Awesomeness. Right now, our new hall can hold about 150 people. And we bring in lecturers to come and give free classes to our trainees and employees. Another thing that's happening in many places, so this is one thing we're doing in Malaysia as part of Mindvalley, it's called Project Renaissance. We built an auditorium, we gathered to the public for free so that people can come and form their own meetup groups for design or web programming or entrepreneurship, again, all for free. And another opportunity for self-education is many entrepreneurs are now willingly sharing out their knowledge. At Mindvalley, we have a website called mindvalleyinsights.com where our trainees and myself actually share our tips, ideas on how we're building up Mindvalley. So one of the unique things about my company is we went from about 0 to 20 million in revenue without ever having to borrow any money. We have 61 trainees, but we open source the way we are doing it. So as we're building the company, we are sharing with other AIESECers and the rest of the world exactly what we're doing so you can copy us. In other words, entrepreneurs today, like the people who run Mindvalley, like Richard Branson, are driven by a desire to contribute. In other words, to create more entrepreneurs. And because of this, the connections are accessible and the self-education opportunities are also accessible. Funding, it's never been easier to get funding. If you have an idea, this is the decade that it's probably ridiculously easy to get money for your idea. You can get on Kickstarter.com and get funding for a project or a movie or a film or a book. Recently, a couple of Google engineers launched Upstart.com. This is brilliant. If you are a smart 20-year-old right now, okay, people, entrepreneurs with money can now invest in you. That means, let me pick a random person. You. What's your name? So let's say David gets on Upstart.com. He can say, this is my resume. Give me $100,000 and for the next 10 years, I'll give you 10% of my income. And so if people believe in David, David instantly gets $100,000 to do anything he wants, start any business. We're investing in the people. Isn't that a unique idea? This is launching in a couple of weeks. Any of you can basically do this. In other words, you don't have to worry about even having an idea right now to get money. Now, One of my friends, his name is Mike Mikovich, he is from Poland. He started a company called 99 Designs. But the crazy thing about, now again, I had a video for Mike, but screw you, Microsoft, the video wouldn't play. So Mike, at the age of 14, started a website called SitePoint. It didn't take him any money to start that website. He basically just learned HTML, put it up. 2 years later, he was able to buy a BMW cash and became one of the richest young 16-year-olds in Toronto. At that point, he moved to Toronto. He went on to start another website called 99 Designs. After 2 years, he was able to sell a stake in it for $35 million in investment. Then he started Flipper.com, which is a website for people to trade websites. He's now in his fourth company, and he's still in his 20s. Serial entrepreneurship, the ability to start businesses with zero cash, is another huge possibility right now. Yes, the barrier to entry in the internet may be bigger right now because there are a lot more websites, but if you have an iPhone, you can learn to code iPhone apps. And there are 3 websites out there that will teach you. And I know guys who are in their mid-20s earning $30,000 a month in profit from their iPhone apps. In other words, there are huge opportunities out there. And I'd love to encourage you guys to take them. The road less traveled is often safer. People think entrepreneurship is risky. It's not. You know what's really risky? Being a slave in the corporate world. That's the last thing you want to do. Yeah, that's what most AIESECers end up doing. Okay, so now what if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, right? There are organizations out there called game-changing organizations. These are startups which are doing amazing things for the planet that you want to be part of. Okay, now how close are you to a company's founder? If you join a corporation, you're basically like up to 10, 20 levels removed from the founder. In many corporations, the founder is dead, so you have no entrepreneurial mentors to help you. Now, if you're in a startup like Mindvalley, I have lunch with my trainees like once every few months. You're directly in access to the founder. In Mindvalley, about 20% of everyone who joins our company ends up becoming an entrepreneur in 2 years. Why? Because we're small, because everyone is connected, because you have access to the head of the company. So one of the things I want to encourage you to do is think about game-changing companies which are still small, doing great things for the world, where you can have the opportunity to learn and grow. There's a website called Game Changers 500, actually started by an ex-AIESECer from Canada called Andrew Hewitt, which lists all these game-changing companies. Go check it out. And I'd love for you guys as AIESECers to be approaching these companies to ask them to take traineeships, because these are the jobs you want to be working for, not the soda companies or the candy companies, or worse, the companies that sell bullshit cigarettes. Okay, now, one of the most amazing companies out there, right, really changing the world, is the X Prize Foundation. Anyone heard of it? Okay, anybody here heard of the Curiosity rover that just made it to Mars? Awesome. Have you guys heard of private space travel? That's the man who made it possible. His name is Peter Diamandis. Peter Diamandis launches these competitions. He gets backers to put up like a $10 million prize, and he issues a challenge. Can we get a human being to the moon and back for under $20 million? Can we launch private space travel? And he's made these competitions so successful that the first one that he launched, the first X Prize, led to private space travel. Now he's working with Google to launch an X Prize to create fuel-efficient cars. That was the result of his first X Prize. Thanks to Peter Diamandis, private space travel is now possible via Virgin Galactic and SpaceX. And the newest X Prize is to basically get a man to the moon and back. Now these are game-changing organizations. Imagine if AIESECers were working for people like Peter Diamandis. Imagine the impact you can have on the planet. And this is just one of many organizations. My point to you is, don't settle for the safe corporate job. Become an entrepreneur. This is the best time on the planet to do it. Or join a game-changing organization where you can actually make a difference, get in contact with powerful people, learn, grow, make an impact. One of the things that most excites me right now is how do we get the world's smartest people working to solve the world's biggest problems? And the question I really want to pose to you is, do you as AIESEC people, some of the smartest 20-somethings I know on the planet, do you want to grow up to be pitching candy or sending a man to space? Okay? And one of the things I want to do, I've been working to do, is open up some of the most influential people in the world to the idea of AIESEC. And I have a message from Peter Diamandis. Could we play that video, please? Anybody get a picture?
And also the author of Abundance. Congratulations on your conference and the extraordinary work that you're doing. Personally, I look forward to working with you. I'm looking for extraordinary, brilliant young people from around the world to help us change the world really solve the world's grand challenges and to create a world of abundance.
Peter Diamandis. So we have just set up a connection with the X Prize Foundation and AIESEC US. And I'm going to now leave it to you, AIESEC US, to close it. But what I'd love to see is that more game changers like Peter Diamandis, who's one of the most influential people in the world right now, are aware of AIESEC and bringing in this talent into their organizations. That's what Peter said, looking for extraordinary, brilliant young people from around the world to really help us change the world, solve the world's grand challenges, and really create a world of abundance. Don't settle. Help us build electric cars that can put the oil companies out of business. Help us come up with new ideas that can end childhood obesity. Help us create companies that actually value employee growth and happiness. Help us get a man to Mars. Help us understand the human gene so we can allow people to live to be 200. Help us put freaking companies like Coca-Cola out of business because they sell sugary crap, and to instead use the distribution networks to get pure water to people without plastic bottles that pollute the earth. That is what I want you guys to do. So seriously, don't settle. Don't sacrifice your potential. Don't give up on the planet and fix the problems that my generation created. You guys are some of the most brilliant people the world has ever seen, and you're living in one of the most opportunistic times the world has ever seen. All I ask is this. I'm not asking that you leave here and upon your graduation, you go and join a nonprofit. All I'm asking is that you don't work for companies that are screwing up the world, but you choose to work for companies that are going to make the world better for your children. Thank you.
So 10 minutes before Vishen came on stage, we weren't even sure if he was going to be here. And are we happy he came? Thank you so much. So we have time for just one or two questions or comments. And if anybody has one.
Yes.
Up here. So we're going to deliver you a microphone.
When I hear you speak, I have the impression that things are so easy, things are so simple. The way you speak is like the world is like this. We are already living in paradise. So I wish to know what were the difficulties you faced while building up your company. That's one. And two, you talk about funding, the simplicity of getting funding for our projects. Personally, I've been doing so much endeavors, and that's very, very difficult nowadays getting funding from banks. But the way you just like explain it, it is so like simple that people are just there to give money out. So can you like give us more details about it? First, what are the difficulties you face before setting up your company? Secondly, about the funding.
That's like 3 questions, and each of that can be a speech on its own. But I'll do my best. Firstly, we are living in paradise. The world is getting better at an astonishing rate. Buy Peter Diamandis' book, Abundance. The book is by Peter Diamandis. It's Abundance. Read the book. It will freaking blow your mind. Money is easily accessible. So I mentioned a couple of ideas on how you can get funding, right? For example, if you live in Malaysia, which is where I live, the government will, if you have an idea, the government will basically give you about 50,000 US to help make that idea. Lots of companies, lots of countries are doing that. Now, if you live in a country that maybe doesn't have the opportunities, guess what? You have your AIESEC connection. Try to get to another company that does. I personally employ AIESECers from all around the world. I have Sudanese business partners. I have business partners from Argentina. Many of them came as AIESEC trainees, joined my company, they came up with an idea, I funded them, they now have their own business. You just got to get into the right company. But ultimately, you're going to find what you seek for. If you have an attitude that funding is hard, that entrepreneurship is hard, that life is going to be an uphill battle, that is what you're going to experience. But if, like me, you believe it's all easy, it's all a piece of cake, and you are blessed with amazing luck, that's what you're going to discover. Now, of course, there's more to that due to the limitations of time. go to my blog, mindvalleyinsights.com. If you have any questions, just ask it to me on our Facebook fan page, mindvalleyinsights.com. I'll be happy to answer in more detail there and point you in the right direction.
Fabulous, thank you. So actually, we're running out of time now, so your offer to answer the questions via your blog is a great offer. Thank you.
Oh, and I might take one more question? Or is that it?
Let's do it.
Okay, one more question. And then, by the way, don't forget, go to mindvalley.com/careers, apply. I still have 39 trainees I have to hire.
Hi, my name is Chief
Yes.
from South Africa. What I want to find out is, like we as leaders of today, let's say, let me paint a picture for you before I get to the question. If you see soldiers, the way they operate, if you say to them, you are going to war, and this man, if something happens to him in foreign land, he must be buried home. That is exactly what they will do. But we as leaders of today, when we stand in stages like the one you're standing in, and we say no to HIV and AIDS, but tomorrow we are the ones who are having sex without condoms. The question is, how do we live in such a way that we inculcate our values as soldiers do today? Thank you.
We inculcate our feelings as, honestly, I don't even know what the word inculcate means.
Means that how do we internalize our values in such a way that we do not abandon them?
We internalize our feelings in such a
Our
way that...
values.
Okay.
Values.
Okay.
Yeah.
We internalize our values so we do not... I'm sorry, I really don't understand the question.
I'll try one more time.
Can I get a simpler question? I feel like I'm back in college.
Okay.
I told you, I was not like the smartest graduate.
Alright, cool. I'll ask a question in your blog here.
Okay.
The other question I wanted to ask is, in your view, 10 years from now, what will success be like?
Okay.
Yeah.
10 years from now, success is going to define these three things, right? Deep down inside as human beings, there are only three things that really matter. And the three things are, and when people come and work for me, even AIESEC trainees, I have them answer these three questions and stick it on the wall in the office so I know what everyone's answers are. Now the three things are this: what are the experiences you want in life? What are the countries you want to travel to? The experiences you want to have? The love relationships you want? The adventures, the travel, the objects, the possessions? Number one, the experiences. Number two, how do you want to grow? What new languages, skills, abilities, physical abilities, mental abilities do you want to gain to be the kind of person to get those experiences? So that's number two, growth. And the third one is contribution. When you become that person, when you have those experiences, how are you going to give back to the world? What charities do you want to donate to? What businesses do you want to run? How many people do you want to employ? So, the three most important questions which I have everyone who works for me, every AIESEC trainee who works at Mindvalley answer are: what experiences do I want? How do I want to grow? How do I want to contribute? We put it all on one sheet of paper, we stick it on our office wall, and this becomes a blueprint into someone's soul. Nothing else matters. These are the end goals. Everything else that leads you there, the GPA, the good job, the career, the salary, is bullshit. It doesn't really bring you happiness. Happiness only comes from those three things: experiences, growth, and contribution. So that's how I believe happiness is going to be defined 10 years from now. That's how increasingly entrepreneurs are defining it.
One more time, give it up for Vishen.
Thank you.